song about y'all is hip-hop.
For Obama, hip-hop. For Obama, hip-hop. For Obama.
The political inspirations necessary to critique prevailing forms of power and the hegemony of a certain narrow vision of America is the fact that it can't hardly get on the radio. And then it can't get on the radar. And so we have these baseless arguments about, and futile arguments about the erosion of political instincts within hip-hop when we have a plethora and an extraordinary richness of the expression of politics within that particular culture itself. Finally, I'll say this then, what's interesting and what's hopeful to me is to see the organization and the organism not necessarily colliding, not necessarily joining together, but at least riding for a little piece. And what I mean by that is that cultures are essentially organic. They yield structure, they deal with politics, and these arguments about distribution of resources, which is what politics ultimately are about. What community has what, how much did they get, how did they get it, and how can we get more of it in places that don't have enough of it, right? At the end of the day, that's what politics is about. Not simply tribal and ethnic tensions fomented by cultures that are insensitive to that issue or that don't pay attention to the way in which some communities get a lot more than others, and some of that is driven by race and class and culture and pigment and gender and geography and the like. So what's interesting is that the organism of this cultural vitality has joined with a certain specific historical juncture here of this political organization of the Obama campaign, and that means you ain't got to agree with everything Barack Obama said. Because a lot of us might have critiques of that within the context of the culture, but the beautiful thing about it is you have space created to articulate the resistance to certain elements there while seeing the bigger picture and the broader project. Now, that's a lot more you can say about John McCain's campaign, I would argue. I know this is nonpartisan, and I'll keep it that way, but I would ask you to draw the contrast in very serious fashion and see what spaces of democratic negotiation are available within the context of a particular organization such that you are able to critique the very foundation of that even as you move forward with an agenda that will be helpful to those people you claim to represent. So that's why, for me, it's an exciting time. And then you got Ludacris signing on and Jay-Z signing on. They all got to be careful, be saying stuff, don't want to mess up. Barack Obama, like Ludacris said his stuff, then had to be rejected by the candidate himself. It's interesting that an art form like hip-hop, in seeking to align itself with this particular political organization, has raised for it some serious questions about the role of art. See, I don't happen to think as I end here that the only role of art is to mollycoddle and cuddle people and make them feel good. Sometimes art has to be irreverent. It has to challenge, it has to be subversive, but not for the sake of subversion, not for the sake of irreverence, but for the sake of making people think critically. But your generation more broadly has seized upon this vital moment and transformed politics in a fundamental fashion. And the beauty of that is that it will be attributed, not now, later on. You know, all the negative stuff will be ascribed to the hip-hop generation, none of the good stuff. The fact that y'all got out there and hit the streets and transformed cyberspace and made it an agent and a vehicle for the articulation of some serious democratic possibilities is something that historians and social critics in the next 5–10 years might acknowledge. But take faith, take solace in the fact that you have realigned American politics and have the real potential to put a guy in office that will open up space broader than him. Because Barack Obama can't do much as the President of the United States, but he can open up windows of possibility, open up ceilings of hopefulness that will transform America and become better.
Yeah, come stand up. Stretch for the stars, get somebody else involved right next to you. Y'all elected me to keep it so fresh for you.